C9, also known as the Combating Hate Act. Now, when we first hear...
Okay, so you can go back and watch that video if you want. No shade to this creator. She's new. It's great to have new voices on the algorithm. I would just encourage you to fact check a little more. So first of all, Bill C9 is designed specifically for hate speech, not just random speech or speech that they think might be offensive, actual hate speech. And there are very specific definitions about this. Let's make sure we have all the facts. Everyone who commits an offense who willfully promotes hatred against any identifiable group by displaying in any public place, a symbol that is principally used by or principally associated with a listed entity as defined in subsection 8301. Which ones are listed as entities? So you can actually go to the Public Safety Canada website and it will give you a full list of those designated entities in alphabetical order. So your concern was about Gaza and the Palestinian flag. Let's see who's listed. I'm not going to name it or read it out loud for fear of me having my videos taken down. So the first organization, you can read all about it here. They actually call for the destruction of the other side, and we don't want that. See, a lot of people tend to forget that there are two sides to every war. But not only are there two sides to every war, every territory has its own internal struggles with its right versus its left. So while the blue and white state is doing terrible things to human beings, no doubt, that doesn't mean everyone in the country is guilty. There are people in that country that are rising up right now and fighting back. And the conflict over there has been going on for a very long time. So in Palestine, there were also people on the far right and the far left. Every group has extremists. You can read about the second group here and some of the terrible things they did as well. Does that justify what the blue and white state is doing? Absolutely not. I'm saying that entities on this list are known Schmerist organizations. Want to know who else is on that list, though? Those guys. How about these guys down here? Or even these guys way down at the bottom. Those are designated entities that we need to be worried about. So let's go back to the beginning. What else is considered promotion of hatred? The N symbol, because we all know that's no good, and any symbol that so nearly resembles a symbol described in part A or B. So if it's like a schmostica, but they sort of played with it a little bit to make it fancy, it's still a schmostica. You can't jazz it up and then call it something else. So in defense of this rule, just to clarify, no person shall be convicted of an offense under the subsection if the display of the symbol was for a legitimate purpose, including a legitimate reason related to journalism, religion, education, or art that is not contrary to the public interest. So if you were reading a story or doing a news article about an organization that used that symbol, the news organization would not be held liable for hate speech for repeating that symbol. As well as part B, if in good faith the display of the symbol was intended to point out for the purpose of removal, matters producing or tending to produce feelings of hatred toward an identifiable group in Canada. So if you were using this symbol to highlight what these people are doing in order to call an end to it, then you would not be held liable for using that as hate speech. Further clarification, for greater certainty, the communication of a statement does not incite or promote hatred for the purpose of this section solely because it discredits, humiliates, hurts, or offends. We need to be specific about that. Just because someone's feelings get hurt on the internet doesn't mean it's hate speech. Just because you're doing hate speech and you're getting held accountable for it is not a bad thing. Hatred means the emotion that involves detestation or vilification that is stronger than disdain or dislike. Now, this bill is actually intended to protect people. It's going to create an offense that's motivated by hatred. So anyone who commits an offense referred to in this section as the included offense under this act or any other act of parliament, if the commission of the included offense is motivated by hatred based on race, national or ethnic origin, language, color, religion, sex, age, mental or physical disability, sexual orientation, or gender identity or expression, is guilty of an indictable offense and guilty on summary conviction. You need to understand that hate crimes are on the rise in this country. I'm not going to say who started it, but it's increased significantly in the last 2 years. Crimes against immigrants, crimes against Black people, crimes against Indigenous women, crimes against children, hate crimes targeting the LGBTQ community. The rhetoric from down south has stirred up a nasty hornet's nest of hate in Canada. And now that we have politicians who tend to spread that hate, it's time we stood up and did something about it. So what are the penalties? Well, 5, 10, 14 years, or sometimes life imprisonment, depending on what you've done. And you know what? Good. If you have gone out of your way to do something to actually harm someone because they're different than you have no leg to stand on. It's unfortunate that just in the last year alone, I've learned of people being put in harm's way or put in danger or being doxxed online for things that are happening from hate speech groups. We are doing our best to create legislation that is going to tackle this problem head on. Now, I'm not a legislator and I'm not a lawyer, but the act isn't very long if you want to go read it yourself. So far, I haven't seen anything about the government trying to silence anyone. They're just going to take some of the hateful voices out of the way. I think that's what we all want, don't we?